better feel. I see you out on the field, you know, you riding guys and getting into the hills. You get a better feel like that when you're on the field. Yeah, just for me, we kind of got a little bored standing by the defense. I went over and bugged the quarterbacks a little bit. Just my way to jump in there and get something going. You know, for myself to get involved in what's going on with the rosters.
Adam, Mike Pouncey wasn't here today?
Yeah, I know where he is, but he's fine.
So it's excused.
That's voluntary.
Voluntary. Everything's excused.
When you see Devontae Parker out there, does he look like a rookie? I think he only played 6 games, or does he look like he's had a year of seasoning?
Yeah, it looks like he's that year just being in a program and then getting to play some games. He seems to be a quick study. I know he was well coached in college. We did a lot of homework on him when we were in Chicago. I think I said it before. We were looking at him and Kevin, and Amari. So, you can tell. I mean, he's pretty sharp. He's picking up what we're doing really, really quickly, and I've been really impressed with the fact that it seems like every day he comes in, he's on it. And he knows what to do. And he's very attentive in meetings.
Well, how about the receiving core in general? It's a young group, that's pretty energetic group. What do you make of what their potential is?
They are whole teams young. We got 35 guys under 25 right now. So I mean, it's fun. I told him the other day, the great thing about receivers is you get paid to run. I don't think I'm gonna have anybody complaining about like their legs are tired or anything. They're too young to complain right now. So, but it's fun to watch those guys work, and Sean Jefferson and Ben have done a great job, and Sean's got an obstacle course out there every day, so he'll keep them engaged for the most part. It's going to be a while before they get tired of doing individuals, so these guys have really brought an energy level that it's exciting to be around.
Last year, as it pertains to Devontae Parker, they it was noted that he has some issues as far as selling his routes, or at the top of his routes, kind of selling it. Is that something that you've noticed, or do you think that that's an area that he's in?
I haven't noticed that. I mean, it's 2 days out there working, so we'll see. You always try to keep an eye on all those type of things with offensive line. Same thing on defense to see if guys are tipping off what they're doing. So we got so far to go. Once we get into OTAs, and you have a chance to go back and look at things in the summer heading into camp, then you at least have a game plan of, hey, when you run this certain route, you may be tipping off what you're doing, so you make those corrections going into training camp, and then you give them a few tools to use to help them, expose something else that a defender might be looking at.
I know it's April and it's way early and we don't play for 6 months, but from 30,000 feet, what do you think of your cornerback group not named Byron Maxwell?
I think the guys are competing right now. I just always look back in 2012, we come out of the draft, and no one knew who Chris Harris was. Everybody knows who he is now. He's a $2,000 undrafted college free agent. Now he's one of the best corners in the league. So you let these guys go out, they compete, and then you're going to find somebody that's scrappy, that figures out a way to get it done. And that's what we're looking for. And that's why we have that large group out there, and somebody's going to step up. It's the NFL, that's the way it is. And we'll find somebody to play. I mean, they're not going to cancel the game.
Adam, we've been speculating about you guys drafting a running back. Have you had occasion to talk to Jay Ajayi and tell him we want to keep you in the mix, or tell him anything along those lines of drafting a running back or how you want to use him?
I don't think he's worried about it. I think he's focused on what he's trying to do right now. I mean, he looks out there right now and he knows he's a starter. So we're going out there. He's getting better every day. He's showing me a lot of great things. I like his skill set. I like him coming out. He's impressed me more both days, from the first day to the second day. So we'll just, keep learning, and we'll just keep giving him opportunities.
Sticking with the running backs, Daniel Thomas, you got some familiarity with him. What do you like about him?
For me, I had a different exposure with him last year. He came in on a tryout, and he impressed everybody there. We signed him, and he was actually having a really good camp, and then he got hurt. So right now, I think he feels really comfortable because he's coming into this and he knows the terminology. He knows what we expect out of him, and he's playing fast. And when I see him in meetings, and he's really engaged in those things because he's a step ahead of everybody in those things. So he knows what we're doing. He knows how I like calling a preseason game at least. So, and I feel like I know his strengths and what he likes to do, and when he gets his opportunity in the preseason, we're going to try to use those to his advantage.
Adam, you're finally able to see Ryan live on the field. Just what stands out, your early impressions?
I guess I'm still trying to figure out a few things, but I guess I didn't realize how live his arm was. The more I watch him throw, it's effortless, and that ball travels down the field pretty good, and he's hit some big plays, and then just underneath having some touch. It's been good to kind of just get out here and see things live. When you watch it on tape, you don't get a great feel for on tape compared to when you see guys for live.
Adam, you said at the league meetings you wanted to get Jordan Cameron more involved in the offense. How do you see his pass catching potential in the ceiling?
I mean, I feel like he does a really good job. I mean, he's done well, at least today. Yesterday he walked off there and I was like, how many balls did he catch? And it wasn't a great answer. We peppered him in the walkthrough though, so I feel like he felt better about it. But he did a good job today and got more involved. We had a lot of third down situations going on today, so he was really involved in that and made a lot of plays.
You've gotten to know Chris Greer over the last few months pretty well. What can you tell about him as a person and a personnel guy?
I mean, I feel like our personalities, we're different, but I feel like every day it's my job to make sure he's laughing, and he's very serious, and he's grinding right now because of the draft, trying to make sure he goes through all the scenarios, and I know there's a lot of people looking at what we're doing right now, and he's making sure that we're prepared and making sure that we're all on the same page. I mean, the communication with him has been off the charts, and it's easy in my position to be around a guy like that that's constantly communicating, making sure, hey, we're all on the same page. And then between him and then Mike and then myself, I mean, I just feel like every night when we finish up, we're all on the same page when we leave the building.
And offensively, I guess you could say you guys could return 10 starters depending on how you count it. Should those guys pick up your system very quickly, considering they have experience, or is it new system, you start at ground zero?
Well, I said this yesterday, and the thing that people don't understand about NFL players is since they've been playing football, you have no idea how many playbooks these guys have learned over time. And this is kind of what they do. I mean, this is their profession. So when you bring in a new playbook, the terminology changes, but nobody's running anything groundbreaking. And a lot of these guys have run all these same routes, they've used the same blocking schemes, they've played the same coverages, they've played the same front. It's just, it's a few different things that we do here and there, and it's not necessarily, anything that's out of this world. It's just different terminology.
One constant when you talk to all the players is that they love your intensity, and you talk to all the players and all of that. When did you realize that could be a tool for you, to help motivate these guys?
I think it started more in Denver when I was the wideout coach there, and I had a group between Brandon Marshall, Eddie Royal, Brandon Lloyd, Brandon Stokely, and those guys, they never stopped. And I think they rubbed off on me, and then once we got Talib and Chris Harris and those guys going, I mean, it was just a nonstop battle. But it was fun. It made practice feel like it was so short because it was just constantly, everybody was talking, but everybody was working hard. And when you have that kind of atmosphere, you love being out there, you love competing. And when you just get as many guys like that as possible on the field.
Is it easier as a younger guy, just because in some way, especially back then, they're more of your peers age-wise?
I don't know. I've never been old yet.
But you feel like it helps, do you relate to them well?
I don't know. I mean, I watch, I watch some of our other coaches that have been doing this a little longer than I have, and I've seen kind of their interaction with players, and some guys are the same as what my personality is, and the guy that I learned under a lot was Coach Martz, and probably people didn't realize how much he talked in practice. He talked about as much trash as I've ever seen as far as a coach goes to defensive players. So I think being around him, that kind of fueled my fire a little bit too, to know that hey, coach can talk a little junk to opposing players.
All right, thanks, guys.
When players don't show up, I know this is voluntary. When they don't show up, have you talked to them in advance when you found out they weren't going to show up and try to sway their opinion? And do you take it personally? You're a first-year coach putting in your program. Do you take it personally that somebody wouldn't show up?
I mean, when a guy calls you and tells you that he's not coming, you always say the same thing. You love everybody to be here. We want to develop, you know, that team bonding, but it's voluntary. And there's, you know, you guys need to file the complaint with the NFLPA and the NFL.